Yeah.
Early morning on a Saturday or Sunday. I don't know what day it was, honestly. I can't tell you what day it was. But I said to Ryan, I said, "Hey man, do you know anyone that could get us acid?" He said, "Oh yeah." And I was, like immediately knew someone. And I was like, "Okay, I didn't expect that." I was like, "All right, well, let's go get some acid then, huh?" And he's like, "Let me see if I can get us some." Not 2 seconds later, acid's available.
$5 a hit.
$5. Yeah, it was like an incredible deal. I was like, all right, well, where's it at? Now this is the part where the deal starts to suck. He's like, oh, it's in Columbus. It's 2 hours away. So what do? We get in the car and we drive 2 hours away to go get this acid. We get to the place, and it looks ghetto as fuck. It's scary as fuck. And we call this number, and he's like, and then he looks at me and he goes, yeah, you might have to sit in the car for this one. I said, what? He said, where we? He's like, no, never mind. She's coming down to the car. So this chick comes out of the car, hands us this little white sheet of paper, right? Mm-hmm. And, it's all white, too, which is kind of alarming because it kind of makes it seem like she, because most time when people make acid and stuff, they're really proud of the little artwork that they get there. Yeah. So I was like, whatever,
Yeah, she didn't give a fuck.
It's probably fake, is what I was thinking. But I was really hoping it wasn't. Now, Ryan's saying at this point, he's like, man, I really want to try acid.
I've never done acid.
Yeah. And I was trying to explain to Ryan, I was like, Ryan, this is not a drug like any other drug.
I wanted my shit to hit right then and there.
Well, not only that, it's just like the way the drug works is not the same. Have you did acid, Ashley?
Yeah.
How much at one time?
Like a lot.
Okay, cool. So you get it. It's not like any other fucking drug you've ever done in your life when you do this drug. And he decides, well, I'm going to take a full hit. And I said, well, Ryan, you probably want to start with a half a hit. And he said, no, I want to start with a full hit. I said, all right. So he takes this
full hit. Dip.
Was it double dip?
That's what she said. But you seen how she was putting it on them fucking Sour Patch Kids that night, just drip, drip.
They might have been fucking quadruple hit. I don't know.
She just dipped it
but
in the jar.
Then we're making about 5 minutes down the road after taking this hit of acid. And Ryan goes, I don't feel a goddamn thing. This is stupid. I think these are fake. I think she just fucked us over. And I was like, what? It takes longer than 5 minutes though, Ryan.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm taking another one. We only have 5, right?
And we're driving back to Columbus, and we was in Cincinnati. No, we were driving back to Cincinnati because we drove to Columbus.
Yeah, so we're in the car while we're doing this. And
on the highway.
So I'm trying to match him so I can make sure I'm on his level because it's the first time I ever did it. So I want to be able to know what he's like experiencing.
What he's going through.
Yeah. So that way,
so you can alleviate stuff.
Yeah. So I can just at least be like, okay, I see what you're saying, but yeah. Well, then he decides that's not enough. He wants to take the third one. And I'm like, well, let's just split the third one, Ryan. So, 2.5 hits deep, right? We're driving. And I start to get to the point where I'm like, dude, I think we got fucked over, man. I'm not feeling a goddamn thing. We made it all the way back to Clifton in Cincinnati, right? And we're pulling onto my road. And about that time, the road started getting real shimmery. The fucking car started feeling real floaty. And I was like, oh my fucking God, we're going to have to pull this car over. I'm going to wreck.
Driving down your road.
Yeah. So we pull over immediately. Park. We had to walk.
I still didn't feel shit.
We had to walk like 2 blocks, man. And I remember the ground started looking like... If you ever wore bifocals and looked in the line of the bifocals, it was like that, where it looked like my next step was like way up here. So it was like,
I remember you walking all weird. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I was like, dude, it was strong acid, like it was really good acid. And then we get to the apartment, and that's about the time where Ryan starts tripping balls, because he looks over. I had a fireplace, and he looks at the fireplace, and I can tell in his eyes that he can see the fireplace like moving and shit.
Bro, I was looking at the map of the outlined America on your wall.
Oh yeah.
And that's when it all fucking hit me, and just shit just started, like the lines started going in and out of each other. I was like, oh my fucking, what the fuck?
They're morphing and shit.
Yeah, it was weird.
So he goes into the living room and sits down in the recliner and leans back. He says, I think I'm gonna go to sleep. I was like, you're not going to sleep. And then I remember he was like, I just wanted to stop. I was like, it's not going to stop.
No.
And all I remember is laying back in this chair for just fucking, it felt like, I don't know, like an hour. But there's a few times where Andrew would come and step over me, and he would be looking at me and he'd be on his phone and be like, "Oh yeah, he's in the fucking frying pan." I was like, "Oh my god!" I was just like, "What?" And then he came over one more time. He's like, "Hey Ryan, I want to leave. Let's go do something."
I was bored as hell.
And then I just remember hearing the door shut. So he left me here in this apartment by myself. And I'm staring up in the corner, just like where the corners meet and shit. And I stared at that shit for maybe fucking, well, I don't even know how long. It
I
must
love
been
when
like
that
3 or
happens,
4
when
hours.
the corner feels like it's going the other direction. Like when you're looking at it. Have you ever done that?
I don't even know why the fuck I was looking at it.
Where
I just like to look at the walls, and I feel like they sit there and like.
more.
I feel like all of this stuff like starts to make faces and like.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like a whole little TV show going on. Like you're watching another dimension.
It was
Now-
different than that them synthetic shrooms that we did. when
Well,
we
shrooms
was
and
at the,
acid
trap.
is a totally different like.
Well, it was like
experience.
Molly
I
is
don't
by
even know
far
what the
my
fuck I was
favorite.
talking about.
Oh, dude, Molly's sick, but Molly just
I
feels
love
like
Molly.
Molly's weird. It's not
Anyways,
like it's
You
not
run
back-
around.
back to the story.
When I did Molly, I literally ran around and I was like, I feel like a jellyfish. Like I can see my
I feel like a
radiation.
jellyfish.
I can see everybody else's radiation. But the
That was some
radiation
good-ass
is their
Molly.
vibe.
Yeah, like you just feel it. You just feel
can,
every.
But you can
fucking
see
thing.
it too. You can see. Like,
I've never
their
seen
color.
anything on anything.
I feel like you can see like the color of their auras. And,
Really?
Like, yeah.
I feel like Sam
I
said some shit like that
love
before.
Oh my god.
Sam said she could see some shit like that, but
Anyways,
Amazing.
so he finally got me up to leave.
oh well, I was just telling you that story to tell you this next one. That way you knew my mindset going into this next one. So he invites his friend Tasha over again.
Oh yeah, this is at Crystal's house because we're
At-
talking about
yeah.
how crazy fucking Crystal was.
Yeah. So I mean, crazy. She's not crazy. She's just very high tempered.
That bitch.
But anyways,
He said, now that we're recording, I can't say what.
anyways, so
gonna
we're
have
sitting
behind the
there,
scenes, too,
and
don't worry.
he's like, "Yeah, I invited Tasha over, the chick with the acid." And I remember thinking, like, "Oh fuck, she has really strong acid. This is sick." So she gets there, and I was like, "Hey, do you have any acid?" And she's like, "Yeah, but it's liquid." And I've never taken liquid acid at this point. Like I was like, "Never had liquid acid." What's
What's this new?
And I figured we were just gonna squirt it in our, like, put a little drop on our tongues or our eyes, whatever, you know. What to
Hell no.
No, this is what we did. She goes in the bathroom and gets these these Sour Patch Kids and puts them in the corner of a bag, right? And she soaks these motherfuckers. Like I'm talking, the whole eyedropper, squirts it all in there. Like I don't know how many hits fit in an eyedropper.
You know, now that I think about it, Tasha could have been like planning to like get us fucked, bro. Because you know she was crazy too. Like,
Yeah. Well,
she probably was trying to kill all.
oh
of us.
yeah, you're gonna see how crazy this bitch is too. But anyways, so I don't know how much acid were on these, but it was an entire eyedropper, and it was soaked in these little fucking Sour Patch Kids. I ate both of them. She said she dropped some on hers, but only ate the head of hers. I ate 2 full ones, soaked in it. So like, and they were wet feeling when I put them in my mouth. Like now that I'm thinking back to it, like that
It was soggy.
yeah, that's a lot of
And
acid.
they was all over your fingers and shit too. So every time,
Dude,
you would,
I
like,
swear to
wipe your
God,
eyes
like,
and shit.
let me tell you about this trip. Okay, so this was the most life-changing experience I ever had in my life, and I've never done enough acid to do this again.
No
And
shit.
I'm like,
No fucking shit.
Dude.
And I was like,
It was-
no, I don't want to do it this time because the last
well,
time.
this is what happened. So when I sit down, I can feel it in my chest so hard, dude, and I can almost taste it and smell it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be like. At that point, I knew, like, I was like, Ryan's gonna die if he took this, because I was thinking about the last time we did acid. It was 2 hits, and he couldn't get out of the chair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I knew at this point, like, I was like, I can't even feel anything. Like, I can't feel my whole body was numb. Like, it was bad. So then, like, I'm starting to sweat and shit.
And then,
And-
oh my God, bro.
Dude, hold on.
Nothing could have made this worse.
Well, hold on. So, like, I'm sitting there, and I'm, like, right next to Ryan the whole time, and I feel like the whole room's getting dark and everything, dude. Like, it was, like, a bad trip. Like, I was like, this is nuts, how crazy this is feeling. And I was like, Ryan, are you okay, man? You feeling good? And eventually he just told me, he's like, dude, I didn't do any acid. I'm just drinking. And at that
Yeah, I'm
moment, dude,
drinking
it
and
was like a
smoking,
whole
but-
it felt like boulders came off my chest, dude. I
The
was
weight
like,
was lifted.
I was like, oh my God, thank God. I was in my head like, he's going to call the cops. We're going to need a fucking life squad.
He's gonna fucking die.
Somebody's gonna need resuscitated.
Yeah, but then after that, I was sitting there, and I remember like, I first started noticing how fucking slow the tracers were when Crystal walked by, and I swear I saw like 5 crystals. And,
Bro.
like, they were so slow. Like it would be like this fast catching up to your hand. So like when you wave your hand, all the fucking like they would be like this. Yeah, like I was like, oh my God. Then Ryan puts on this fucking
I'm kind of sad I
screensaver.
didn't do it.
Oh, dude, it was insane. It was the strongest of acid I've ever done in my life, dude. Like the TV screen. So he
The
had like
Hulu background. That
yeah,
place.
dude. He had this stupid fucking trippy background or something. It was just a bunch of spinning objects.
Mhm.
But once it would hit the side of the TV, I would watch it go up the fucking wall. I was like, oh my God, dude.
Oh
It's- I was like, I had like was sitting there in my head like, dude, what the fuck is going on right now? And then this fucking crazy bitch ruins it. Ruins the entire night. It was such a beautiful thing for me, dude. I went through a life changing
Oh my
like
God.
when they talk about a trip, like I felt like I went to Mars, Venus, Jupiter, met all the people that lived there, came back, wrote a book about it and everything. Like that's how long this felt. And all of a sudden this bitch just starts saying some crazy shit, you know, like I don't even know what I want to talk about, but like eventually it got to a point where she's like, you know what? We should just wake up everybody in the house.
She said, "This is such a beautiful feeling, such a beautiful night.
I don't know.
Let's
if she,
get Crystal."
I don't know if she thought that like everybody was just gonna come out and sing "Kumbaya." What the fuck was going on? But Crystal's kids had to go to school in the morning too. Let's not forget that part.
Yeah, she's a mother of 3. She
Yeah.
don't even like that. All she does is she don't even like to drink. She just smokes.
So then,
What? You gotta explain it. Who cares?
So then, this bitch starts screaming and yelling and waking up everybody in the house. Have you ever met Crystal? Crystal is insane.
It's very intense.
Very intense person. Now imagine waking her and her children up because you're high on acid in her house. I've never seen like she looked nuts coming out of the bedroom. Like her hair didn't look as it looked different completely. Didn't even look like her hair.
But I can see the rage in her. I'm tripping some fucking. This motherfucker acting like he was sleeping the whole time.
Yeah,
I was like, I know he ain't fucking sleeping because I'm just sitting here
I
high as
don't know-
shit on the couch. and
well, I'm
watching
on
Crystal
acid,
bitch.
so like immediately I'm just like I have no idea how to handle this
He
situation.
said, "I'm shut down." Shut down.
Because she was like she was spitting and her face was red and she was just like her eyes were coming out of her head, dude.
And
Like,
all I remember is sitting there like, "Can you shut the fuck up, please?" Like,
and then Tasha goes outside and she's like, "Get out of my fucking house!" So she goes out and her car's dead, and it's
oh
just
my
like,
God, we couldn't get this bitch out of there, bro.
and then she's like, "Ryan, this is your fault."
It's like, what?
But then she sits down next to me and she like puts on a movie while Ryan's out there trying to get this chick's like on a run, and I'm sitting over there just like, oh my God, I'm gonna
He's still
fucking get
acting like
murdered.
he's sleeping.
Like I don't know how to handle this. I'm scared to death. And then somehow she got invited back into the house by the end of it. I called Dallas at that point. I was like, bro, come get me.
All I remember saying no.
And then this fucking bitch, she scams Dallas out of like an eighth of weed.
Who?
Fucking Tasha.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
What?
Because she's like, yeah, I got some acid left. And he's like, oh, I got, I'll trade you an eighth of weed. There was a little bit, like this little bit of drops in the bottom, right? By the time he got there wasn't in there no more. And she's like, oh, yeah, I forgot. My bad. And I was just like, you fucking bitch. That was like one of the only reasons why he was coming to get me, right? So he's like, just give me the empty
Oh, I bet he
bottle.
was pissed.
Well, this motherfucker takes the empty bottle and takes the dry dropper out and just licks it like that. And I was like, ooh, I don't know if I would have done that. Dude, it was somebody who was driving and he was like, dude, we got to pull over right now. He had to go inside he laid in my couch for like 2 hours. Didn't say a word to me or nothing. Just laid there like this. I was like, Jesus Christ, are you okay? But yeah, that was the time I did acid at fucking. But that was the time I ever seen Crystal crazy as fuck.
Bro, she would call me. So I would miss my fucking exit all the time going to work because this bitch wouldn't fucking quit calling me. Because I was staying with Ashley back when I first met Ashley.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember you guys showed me text messages and stuff from her where she was
Yeah.
like going nuts.
I was like, Ashley's like, "Are you fucking this bitch?" I was like, "No, she's
Trust
just
me.
crazy."
Nobody was fucking that bitch. I think that was her issue. Don't put that on the